I'm back and I have another league race video. The difference between previous league race videos and this league race video is the fact that this one is at Monaco, which I've never raced in a league race before. And I know that there are leagues out there who do races at Monaco for league races, but me personally, I've never done it. So I think it's going to be a really interesting experiment to see how this goes. Because if you've ever raced at Monaco, which I think most of us have if we've played this game, we know that it is a very tight track and there's not a lot of room for passing. And the AI, of course, runs this track perfectly and they don't cause issues and they don't run into each other and everything's fine. But when you're dealing with real people, there's always that risk that you are going to have people doing unexpected things on the track. Like, I don't know if you just saw, I went past the tire during my qualifying lap that was just sitting on the track. So that's pretty normal for a race at Monaco in my experience with other people. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this goes. And frankly, I'm really excited about it. I am the commissioner of this league. I'm the person who sets the schedule. So maybe I'm a little biased, but I'm excited about this. I set Monaco as the first race of this new season because I do think that it is part of racing to race on tracks like this. It's not all just Austria and tracks like that. So I think it's fun sometimes to go to tracks like this and experience them and see what they're all about. Last season I was in the Williams. This season I'm in the Mercedes. So this is my first race at Mercedes, and we will see how it goes. You saw my qualifying lap there. I qualified P8, got off to a pretty good start. I see Arab Kid 50 just sending it to the left of me there. He gets through pretty much untouched. I didn't have any issues. I was somewhat worried that I was going to accidentally squeeze him into the wall, which I think would have been his own fault when he sent it like that. But I didn't. It was fine. I gave him a little room, and I was good on my right side as well, so we ended up being fine. J-Rack has a little look there down the right side, the inside there, made some contact with the back of me. I later found out that J-Rack actually was desynced, I think, for most of the first lap. And I don't know if he's actually making contact with me, but I certainly am feeling some limited ability to turn. And my assumption was that's because there was a car glued to my gearbox, and it was J-Rack. But I don't know. It's hard to say. But I'm doing pretty well up to this point. I'm at P8, which is where I started. I'm safe. J-Rack again looks like he's having a go trying to get past me. But if you've raced at Monaco, you know this is not really a track that you can get past people. So that's probably not a very smart move. He sort of pushes me out wide there. And then going into this turn, there's really nowhere for me to go. And I get spun out by J-Rack, which was unfortunate. I don't know if that was a desync issue or an aggression issue or what, but my front wing is absolutely ruined at this point. You see me scheduled to go into the pits. Now you see me actually go into the pits. I'm P9 when I go into the pits, and I come out at P16, which is not ideal, but the good news here is that I am done pitting as long as I can manage these tires to the end of the race. So fast forward a bit to lap 12. I've kept it clean, and I am P7 after everyone around me pits. And around lap 13, you have to think that probably everybody has done their pitting at this point. Okay, so I shouldn't be passing anyone in front of me based on pitting after this. We will see, but probably not. So the last person that I passed there who was pitting was Arab Kid 50. You see Arab Kid 50 goes to the softs, and I'm on old mediums at this point. They're 11 laps old. Hal in front of me, who's my teammate, actually went to the mediums on the first lap. So he's got even older mediums than I do. And he's also got 5 seconds of penalties. So you saw he just made a little error earlier in this lap. I don't know if he hit the wall or what, but he definitely lost about 2 seconds. So I'm now around 1 second behind Hal, and Arab Kid 50 is around 7.5 to 8 seconds behind me. And Arab Kid 50 has 3 seconds of penalties. Hal has 5 seconds of penalties. But I find myself in a weird position here, okay? So for most of the lap, I would have more pace than Hal had. And I don't know if that was a tire grip thing. I think he might have had some front wing damage at this point in the race, so that also possibly could have contributed to it. But I frankly had a lot of pace in this race. I really did. And I found myself gaining a lot of time on people in most cases. I think maybe that would have changed a little bit here towards the end of the race, where I've got these older mediums and most of these other guys took a more normal pit strategy, so they'll either be on relatively new softs or mediums that just aren't as old as mine. But I do feel confident about the pace that I have. I thought maybe if I could get past Hal, there was a chance that I could have caught up with Incident, because like I said, I had a lot of pace, and I do think if my tires had held, I think maybe there is a situation in which I could have caught Incident, just because I just felt like I was putting in consistent laps this race. But the situation here is that obviously I don't want Hal to have to sacrifice his race to let me through. So it's not like a team order situation where it's like, oh, slow down and let Jeff through. It's not like that. It's like, I want, if I can find a situation to pass him safely, I'll do it. But at the very least, I'm going to try to maybe keep a little distance between him and Arab Kid, if at all possible. And it is somewhat tough to follow, right? So theoretically, with Arab Kid having 3 seconds of penalties, if I can finish between Hal and Arab Kid, Hal and I both should finish in front of Arab Kid post penalties. So it's just a matter of basically making sure that even if Arab Kid does get through, he only does it late enough to not gain 3 seconds out in front of me. And he's got 6 seconds of penalties now, so that buys us even a little more wiggle room. So even if Hal finishes in front of Arab or behind Arab Kid, but less than a second behind, then he would actually jump over Arab Kid as well. So I feel like we have some good possibilities here. But frankly, I was really slowed up by Hal here. You see it's now 7.5 seconds to Incident. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking about 11 who's catching up. One of the faster guys in the league. I want to say he qualified maybe P2 or P3 for this race. It may be wrong, but it sounds right in my head. But this track, Monaco, is just a track where unless Hal makes some really bad mistake or I get a really nice run into the DRS zone, I'm just not going to pass him. And then you see me bump the wall there, which was just stupid. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know why I did that, but it was so dumb. And now I am really worried because I'm having some serious control issues, and downforce is so important at this track. And I'm having some serious car control issues. You see me having a little bit of issue turning there, and it wasn't super bad. I mean, I could still turn. I just had to be a little more strategic about maybe some of my lines and just not taking as much speed into corners and stuff. So I'm not in a great position here. After I hit the wall, I've somewhat given up on my hope of catching Hal and passing him on the track. I do still feel good about the penalties there, so I should be able to get him regardless. But Incident is certainly out of the question. 11T is in the question, and I didn't have a lot of control there, and Arab Kid gets by me and almost hits the back of the guy coming out of the pits. I didn't see who that was, but that did not look good. And at this point, my focus has shifted from trying to catch up to Incident, who is in front of Hal. It's now shifted to staying within 5 seconds of Hal, staying within 6 seconds of Arab Kid, and staying in front of 11D on the track, because 11D doesn't have any penalties here, just like me. So we're truly going to be racing on the track. You know what I mean? So it's important here that I stay in front of him. And I don't know exactly what his situation is. I don't know if he has damage, but based on his pace, I'm guessing that he doesn't have any damage. I am helped, again, a little bit by the fact that Arab Kid gets another 3 seconds of penalties, presumably for track limits, but I don't know where he was picking those up on this track. And so Hal's got 5 seconds of penalties, Arab Kid has 9 seconds of penalties, and 11T and I have none. I'm not at all worried about J-Rack behind him, who has 12 seconds of penalties and is 33 seconds behind me as well, so I should be good there. At this point, it's just going to be keeping 11D behind me as best I can, which is probably going to be a tough sell given, again, I have front wing damage and 11D is rapid. You see him maybe having a go there, but I tried to leave him as much room as I could, but there's just not room there to overtake. They always say no heroics into, I forget the name of that first turn there, but they always say no heroics into it. And 11D might have made some contact with the wall there just based on what I saw in my rearview mirror. I didn't actually see his onboard, so I don't know exactly what happened, but it kind of looked like there was not a lot of room for me to give him room without me going off track. So I couldn't really do a lot there. And at a certain point, you just kind of have to back out of that move if you're in that position. So again, I've still got some front damage on the wing, some damage on the front wing, but I am feeling a lot better about keeping 11D behind me at this point. I accidentally way overused my ERS there, but I guess it was useful because I put some time in between us, but I used a lot more of it than I planned to right there, so I'm somewhat not out of ERS here, but I'm getting lower than I might like to be. You see how I think made some sort of error there, and he said after the race that he had front wing damage off that. So I guess I'm a little worried that Arab Kid can build a 9-second lead here, but only if I make some sort of colossal error. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty comfortable about probably getting a P6 if I can just keep it all together and hold it all together, which I think, given the circumstances, I would be very happy with. The league has gotten faster since last season, and a P6 right now is, I think, a lot more meaningful than a P6 would have been last season. You see that 562 King won the race. He's a really fast guy. This is his first season in the league. So it's guys like that have come in, and 11T behind me. It's guys like that have come in and who are very rapid. So I'm not stupid. A P6 right now is better than last season. Arab Kid is scaring me a little bit, putting a lot of time up there. I took, again, I'm feeling the front wing damage, and I am somewhat worried, but hopefully there's not enough time for 11E to make a run at it here. And I expect that on the track it's going to be Arab Kid, How, Jeff, 11D, but with penalties I might get a little bit helped out post-race. So you see us cross the finish line here, and I immediately jump to P6, which, as I mentioned, result that I'm super happy with. I'm pretty proud of given the circumstances, and I hope to keep up this run and maybe have a couple good races this season. But I think, all things considered, this is a pretty good first league race at Monaco for me.